Have you ever had that moment where you are staring at a breakdown and you know you could crush the role? And then you hit the same wall, must be represented. And suddenly it's like the industry is this building with a bouncer out front, and you're on the sidewalk going, cool. So I guess I just don't get to work until I find an agent. Well, here's the thing. Yes, agents help. Yes, representation matters, but no agent, it is not the reason that you are not booking. It just feels like the reason because it lets you off the hook from having to figure out how to get yourself in the room. If you are unrepresented right now, or you are represented, but you are still not getting in the rooms that you want to get into, the bouncer isn't the problem. There's a side door. And once you see how it works, you stop begging the front door to open and you start walking in through the entrances that were there the whole time. I've watched actors with 0 reps book real work because they understood how to create proof, get in proximity, and become the obvious choice, while other actors with agents stayed invisible because they were waiting for their agent to, send them out. I know because I did it myself. I relaunched my acting career from Munich after 16 years away. I had no contacts, no current footage, no traditional path back in. So if you've been telling yourself, I can't do anything until I get an agent, that belief is expensive. And today, we're going to replace it. Agents are a multiplier. They amplify what's already working. An agent is proof you've been vetted when you're represented, especially by a well-known agency. Casting knows someone credible has already decided you can do the job. The bigger the agency, the stronger that vetting. But vetting, it's not exclusive to agents. There are other ways to build that same proof. And here's the reality. Agents represent multiple actors. They're building a roster, not betting on one person. So yeah, a good agent cares about your career, hopefully. But this is your career, your life, your dream. And you can't outsource building it to someone else's roster strategy. When you're unrepresented, the work is building access and proof in a way that makes representation the next obvious step. So first, what the hell is the side door? Well, it's any path where the decision maker can say yes to you without needing your agent to introduce you. When people say casting, they imagine like one giant gatekeeper. But casting is a web. It's directors, web series creators, producers, DOPs, writers, small production companies. An agent, it's helpful, but not required. Step 1. Figure out what gap is actually keeping you stuck. Most actors skip this step. There are 4 gaps that keep actors invisible: skills, industry proof, connections, and knowledge. And until you know which one is your gap right now, you're just guessing. If you're getting in rooms, but you're not booking, that's usually a skill gap. You need training in something specific to be competitive. If you're good, but nobody knows you exist, that's a connection gap. If you can't show you can do the job, that's an industry proof gap. You need footage that demonstrates your ability. If you don't understand how your target world operates, that's a knowledge gap. Now, most actors have more than one gap. I certainly did. And you can often close many of them at one time. But you have to pick the one that's blocking you most right now. Step 2, you need to build proof that travels without you. If you don't have an agent, something needs to do the selling when you're not in the room. Casting isn't just choosing talent. Casting is deciding on what risk they're willing to take. And the way you lower the risk is with proof. Not potential, industry proof. And in our world, that's visible proof. A clean, specific reel that shows your lane. A 1-minute piece of acting that makes someone go, oh, yeah, that person. Because here's what's actually happening behind the scenes. A director will say, I need someone for this role. And then you pop into someone else's head because they've seen your industry proof. Then they'll say, hey, I know an actor who'd be perfect for this. And then the director says, well, get me their reel. And that's how you get invited into the room without an agent. But if what they send is messy, unclear, poorly lit, bad sound, random, you are not going to get a chance to audition. Your opportunity dies right there. And here's what really sucks. Your materials have made the wrong impression about you as an actor. You'll probably never even know that you were being considered. So the question becomes, if someone wanted to recommend you tomorrow, what would they actually say? Is it some, hodgepodge footage you were able to cobble together? Or is it intentional? Does it clearly show the kinds of roles and projects that you're aiming for? Or does it just show where you've been? If your materials aren't strong, you're not just missing opportunities. You're killing referrals before they even happen, because the side door is built on connections. And if you don't have that footage yet, you can create it. Step 3 is to create warm access through collaboration. No begging required. This is the how to get cast part that people skip. They either do nothing and hope, or they cold message casting directors, and then they wonder why it goes nowhere. Casting directors are not looking for pen pals. They are trying to fill a breakdown sheet. So instead of asking for attention, what you need to do is identify the exact projects you want to work on. And then you look for the people you could actually get to work with you. People always shoot for the stars when the moon is right there. You don't need to try and get the director of Severance to work with you. But you might get the first AD or one of the writers in the writer's room, or maybe an associate producer, or even a gaffer. What's the advantage to that? Well, they have personal connections to the people who can actually hire you. The director, the showrunner, the producers, they know exactly the look and feel of the show, so they can help you create the kinds of materials that you need to look like you belong in that world. And this is where the Curator method comes in, because instead of chasing these people down and asking for favors, you bring them to you. Look, when I first relaunched my career, I'd been out of the industry for 16 years. I had no current footage, no contacts, no clue, no way back through traditional paths. But I knew if I was serious about relaunching my acting career, training was going to be the very first thing I needed. So I brought the training to me. I found the coaches I wanted to learn from, and I organized workshops around what I actually needed. Other actors, of course, needed the same thing, so they came too. We all learned, I got paid, and I built peer-level relationships with people who were actually working in the types of projects that I wanted to work on. And that's the method. You identify something you actually need, then you hire somebody out of that world to teach a workshop or a lab. Once I realized it worked for training, then I realized I could use it for everything I needed. I used it to get showreel material. I used it to build relationships with casting directors. I brought them in to teach how they actually make decisions, which meant they knew my work before I even auditioned. That's a completely different power dynamic. And look, if you are determined to get an agent, same approach. Find agents that you can realistically work with. Agents whose client lists match where you're at right now. And organize a workshop where they teach something that they know. Something like, what are query letters that make me say, come in for an interview? Other actors who need that same knowledge will show up and will pay to attend. And months later, when you reach out with new footage and credits, You're not a cold email. You're someone they already know, which makes them much more likely to invite you in for a real conversation about representation. Most actors try to be discovered. Working actors get referrals. Referrals are the side door. So the work is creating the conditions where referral is easy. And look, one workshop, that's not going to change your career, but through compounding effort. 6 months from now, if you do that consistently, you've closed multiple gaps, which gives you momentum. And that's when things start moving. That's when agents stop being this impossible barrier and start being the next logical step. Because now you're not asking them to build your career from scratch. You're showing them something that's already working. So if you are tired of guessing and you want help building your very first side door, get on the wait list for the Side Door Challenge. It is a 5-day experience where we identify your exact gap and the thing that you need to fix it so that you can hit your next milestone. And you walk away with a 90-day plan so that you know what you need to do to hit the ground running. I run this challenge every couple of months, and the spots definitely fill up fast. The link's in the description. The goal isn't hoping someone discovers you. The goal is building access that makes you the obvious choice. So get on the wait list, and I will show you how to build your own access. Until next time, you stay bold.